Hey everybody, happy Treadmill Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing well. Quick lesson for today. So I'm wondering if anybody out there has ever said the phrase, I feel like giving up. And I'm not just talking about if you're on a treadmill. It could be anything. It could be with reference to dieting. It could be with reference to your job. It could be with reference to parenting, which I hope that's not the case. But I understand it now. Anyway, but it can be professional, it can be personal, it can be fitness oriented. So I want to quickly share with you about a little book that found me this past weekend called The Dip. And it's basically a little book that teaches you when to quit and when to stick. And so basically the gist of this book, which I'm a big fan of, only 80 pages, thank you Seth Godin. So it's basically that there are two types of curves. Sorry, my phone is sliding around here. Two types of curves that we will face as we try to accomplish something. Again, whether or not that's a quest for fitness or something like that. And one is called the dip, and the other one is called the cul-de-sac. So anytime that we're going to face obstacles in our life. So the question is, how do we handle it? So a dip is basically a temporary setback that you will overcome if you keep pushing. And it looks like this. So I'm going to show you this picture of a dip. Okay? So you start out, I hope this is forward facing. I don't know how this will look on the Facebook, but we'll see. So if this is, anytime you start out with something, whether it's a new job, new relationship, a diet, you've got all this enthusiasm, even you decide to join a gym. There's all this excitement. So that's the peak part. But then after a while, the excitement wears off. Boom. Then you're in the dip. So the dip is where you have to decide, do you stick with it and keep going because you know it's going to be something really good, or do you quit? So we'll go back to that in a second. But the cul-de-sac, they didn't even do a picture because it's basically dead end. There is just, they said that cul-de-sac is French for dead end. So they didn't even do a picture because you know you're not going anywhere. It is mediocrity. I don't know, by the way, I don't know what the shooting star is coming here. My lighting system is not so great. So it looks like I've got a Jedi laser beam going through my head. But anyway, so why do we care? What is it? Why does this matter? Well, because one of the people often settle for less than they are capable of. So we oftentimes settle for that mediocrity, but we don't have to, people, because you can decide to be the best in the world at something, even if it's, again, if it's your relationship or your job or even at weight loss. If you just shoot for the best, people tend to want the best as opposed to average, right? That always feels better. So what happens, talking, again, cul-de-sac, things will never get better. Dead end is dead end. Mediocrity. It's always going to stay that way. Now, if I remember that curve in the dip, once you're down in the gully, you've got a couple of options. You've basically got to figure out, how do I get out of here? Because I want what's going to be on the other side. Or you decide, you know what, this is not working out for me. If the relationship is not the one that you want, then you quit. And that is strategic quitting, which is smart. Seth Godin says, quit the wrong stuff, stick with the right stuff, but have the guts to do one or the other. So next time you find yourself saying, I feel like giving up, or I'm, where things get hard, you have to decide, think about that graph of the dip, specifically, the part where you're in the gully, where it gets freaking hard. So he said that he talks about winners and losers. Winners will quit fast, quit often, and quit without guilt. Because if you're running a business and something is not working, you're not going in the right direction, quit and go in a new direction. That's strategic quitting. so you can get out to the other side. Doesn't mean you're not still running a business. It means that aspect of the business, you got to go in a different direction, but you still have the same goal. Marathon training. You still are training, but there are times where maybe you shouldn't have 2 ears of corn before your training run, and your stomach is not cooperating. It's not your day. Doesn't mean you got to throw away all your marathon training. It just means that you got to quit for that day. So the winners will seek out the big dip because the reward is so much greater on the other side. Now, losers get to the part where they face an obstacle. Oh, I got to quit. Well, I just wasn't meant for this. Oh, it got hard, and so I'm not going to push myself through it. And so then they move on to something else where they will inevitably face another dip and aren't used to being able to push past that, and so they get stuck. So with this book, if you are facing a dip in your life, you can get this book and figure out, is it worth your time, effort, and talent? If yes, the dip will inspire you to hang tough. If not, it'll help you to find the courage to quit. So again, I want to read one more sentence from here. 7 reasons no, I'm not going to read you 7 reasons you might fail to become the best in the world. What I really wanted to read you is this. The dip is the reason that you're here, or we're here. Whether you're lifting weights or negotiating a sale or applying for a job or lunging for a tennis ball, you've made a huge investment. You've invested time and money and effort to get to this moment. So think about that. If you're in a job, you've invested time, effort, and money. If you're losing weight, you've invested time, effort, and money. If you're training for a race, time, effort, and money. You've acquired the equipment and the education, the reputation. So you can confront this dip right now. So my question to you, when you find yourself in the dip, do you have the courage to quit because it's not the right thing for you? Do you have the courage to keep going even though it's going to be hard, but you know the reward is going to be worth it? Or do you want to stay in mediocrity? People, go get yourself in a dip. It makes it so much better. So my personal situation, the reason why I said this book found me is because I'm kind of in a dip in my business. And I'm stuck on a couple of things. But I realized that even some progress is better than no progress. So you got to keep doing something and just keep going at it. Or you decide this isn't the right thing and I'm going to go in a new direction. So make the choice. And tell me about your dip. Not your chip dip, but actually that sounds good because I'm kind of hungry. But let me know what things you faced and if you've decided to quit, how that worked out. And now people, don't be going home and be quitting your relationships or anything like that. Don't say that I said to do that. It's not what I'm talking about. But fight through it. It's worth it on the other side. So have a great week. I'll see you next week. Peace out. Thanks, Seth Godin.